Life is just always mysterious and surprising. You never know what's around the next corner. You never know what's around the next corner.
Welcome! I'm Jimmy from Levity Vans, here to give you a van tour of our latest van named Flow. So first I'd like to talk to you about the layout. Our customer wanted an elevated bed in the back, as you can see here. And we put ample storage for her. We have drawers underneath. And she wanted her galley right here, which comes with an induction cooktop and a really deep sink. We do have a water filtration system as well, and a soap dispenser. On this side, you'll see the convection microwave, convection oven, the really large 4.6 cubic foot fridge. Get in here all the way. Composting toilet. More storage, and more storage. Up here is the charging cabinet, and on this side we have some overhead cabinets. More storage in the galley, a few drawers. Flip-up table, and the legroom table that you saw already. Let's talk about the features of Flow. Flow has a 3,000 watt inverter connected to this remote control right here. It is an inverter charger, so she could plug into shore power and charge up her batteries. And it's also, it switches over to 110. Instead of going through the batteries, it goes straight to the 110 outlets when she's plugged in. This is her battery monitor, which she can connect to Bluetooth on her phone as well. This is the sea level 2 tank monitors. You guys have probably seen these before, but this has a voltage meter. Also shows the percentage in her freshwater tank and her gray water tank. And this is how she turns on her water pump. This part I'm really excited about. If you haven't heard of it, Rixon's is a really, really awesome company. And just like you've heard about Espar, Webasto for your cabin heaters, Rixon's does, it's a hydronic heater, so it heats fluid and not air. And it does use an Espar component, which is mounted underneath the vehicle. Now what this does, so there's two parts to it. When you're driving down the road, your engine is circulating coolant through the engine. I mean, your engine's circulating coolant through it to cool the engine is part of its purpose, but we expanded off of that coolant line to run hot coolant all the way to the back of the vehicle, which heats up another system in the back that has an expansion tank with more coolant. And so when the engine's running, it heats up the system back there. When the engine turns off, a little tiny engine, just like your Espar heater or Webasto heater, but it heats coolant, is mounted underneath the vehicle. It starts heating the coolant. So that's the secondary, but it's really the main one that you're using. And that coolant runs through a heater core that's mounted underneath the cabinet down here. And just like the heater in your car, your coolant actually runs through your dash into this heater core, something that's like this big, and then a fan blows air past it, and that's how you get heat inside your car. Same thing happens in here. And what's really cool about, like, you know, the not using propane heat, for instance, is that it's a really dry heat. So that's part of Rixon's heating system.
Okay.
The other cool part about the Rixon system is the coolant also runs through something called a heat exchanger. And the easiest way to explain that is you have two sets of fins, one on each side. They're not connected, but there's a thin piece of metal right next to them. And the coolant runs through these fins and gets really hot, like 190, 200 degrees or something. And then on the other side, you have water that flows. And when it flows the opposite direction as the coolant, but when the water flows right next to the coolant, you get instant hot water. So this has instant hot water. She has a 40-gallon water tank in here and a 22-gallon gray water tank, so she could take a lengthy shower and still have plenty of hot water for the next person. Electrical controls. So these are pretty fun. If you know me personally, you know that I love electronics and switches and things like that. This first switch is connected to an electronic ball valve for her gray water tank. So she hits that, starts dumping her gray water tank underneath her van. I also like three-way switches. So there's one right here, and there's also one up in near the driver's seat that she can hit while she's driving. If she's on a backcountry road using biodegradable soaps, she could just dump her gray water tank on the road. This button right here is for the stereo. It's on right now because we were listening to it, but this actually turns the stereo on and off from the back. And then she can use a remote control to control her stereo. And all of that runs off of her house battery, so she doesn't have to worry about draining her starter battery while she's listening to music. We also have a nice little sub mounted underneath the bed for her. This is a light for the under cabinet lighting. We have master lights. These are overhead lights, and then dimmers for the overhead lights. The reason that that we have a master light switch is because this controls all of the lights. So if you notice here, we have lights. That's like your night light. There's the light. This also dims if you press and hold it, or it gets brighter like it was just doing. But say you want to use these lights but not have the overhead lights on because there's two more in the back and you're reading or something. So this light is still on, overhead lights are off. But say you're driving down the road, someone left all the lights on. Instead of stopping and coming back here and switching it off, you can just hit the button up there. Be right back. And all the lights turn off. And you can turn it back on from here. So Flow is fully outfitted with insulated window covers all the way around. So front windows, windshield, side windows, rear windows, and the small windows in the back. This is the only window cover that doesn't have magnetic. It has a couple suction cups, and then it's held up right here. And then everything else is just like a slap it on and it just stays by itself. And these fold up. They come with a bag that you can put them all together. They're made locally here in Santa Cruz by a company called Strawfoot Handmade. They're by far the nicest window covers, like insulated window covers that I've ever used. Now just to show you how the magnetic covers work. They just fit right in there like that. They also have magnetic pieces that will hold it up high so you can still use the vents. If you're ready to close them for privacy or for more warmth, just close them up. Strawfoot. Safety first. If you're cooking inside of your van, it's great to have a fire extinguisher. It's located right there, right next to the door, so you can reach it from outside in the kitchen area, so you can reach it from here as well. All our vans, we install C.R. Lawrence OEM style, all glass looking windows. They have the T-vents in them, so you get nice ventilation. They come out further than that. And there's a vent on the inside. So what works really well is having one window open and your vent fan going. Usually the one where you're sleeping is really nice. So we also have an elevated bed. We have our vented windows up here. In the garage area, all the electronics we house on this side. This has 300 amp hours of lithium batteries, and we also have a 3,000 watt inverter down here. This is a master switch, so in case you ever are storing your van for the season and aren't planning to use it, you can just turn this whole thing off. It also has an alternate where you can combine the batteries, so you switch it down that way, and that's in case your starter battery dies for some reason, you're out in the middle of nowhere. You could actually use your lithium batteries to charge up your starter battery to be able to start your car. We have another electrical outlet right here. We have lighting in the back. Made just a cubby right there, so she has kind of like her trunk area. Throw some jumper cables or flares. This side is the shower. So when she wants to shower, she has a magnetic screen that pops up onto here, and then there's some corner pieces that go in here. And it's as simple as sticking your shower head up there and turning on the water. Hot and cold. This is her fill valve. In case the water pump's not on, you could turn the water pump on from here also. So I always like to do a couple fun things inside the van too. So one, what van isn't complete without a laundry chute? A little hole right there. Laundry goes right down there into the basket. The other cool thing, if you're traveling in a van and you leave your van, or if you're living in your van, you probably have some valuables. And I hope no one breaks into the van, but if someone did, you don't want them to find your important stuff. So this van has this regular old drawer. However, it has a hidden compartment on the back, and that's where you can put some high-end valuables. And no one's gonna expect there to be a hidden drawer. So that's our van tour. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe for more videos. We also do how-to videos. And if you're looking for a van conversion yourself, our website is a great resource. We have a lot of information packed in that website for people who are getting into van life or don't know anything about van life, or who are ready to take the plunge and jump right in. So please visit us at levityvans.com. If you want to tell us about what you're working on, click on Tell Us About Your Project at the top of the page. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.